But they left the rubber tip off of it.
There goes the
You
table.
better put that
Let's
back
start
on.
our,
A little noisy.
our meeting.
Off the record.
Do we have minutes of the last session? Is that what- No, we don't have them, so we can move rapidly along to the next subject.
Mr. Chairman, we had put the meeting, the minutes for the meeting of the 14th on hold. Can we vote on those minutes?
Well, I don't have them to say who was here and who wasn't. I think we can, but I don't have the minutes.
Your quorum is not here, is it?
1,
I-
3, 4, 5.
Yes, but there has to be 4 people that were at the meeting that time. That's why we didn't vote on it last time.
And there, David's not here, and David's not gonna be here anymore, and Tristan is, I don't know if is he coming?
He's
today?
not coming, I don't think.
Oh, well, then, it won't
I thought
happen.
yesterday at
Oh.
the county advisory board meeting, he said, I'll see you tomorrow, so.
Okay.
All right,
He
well,
probably has the time wrong, but other than that,
it was a thought. I'll pass.
he'll be here too.
Or 4.
Okay, it was just a thought, sir, I just thought
That
we
was a
could.
good thought, Gretchen.
Okay, I'm ready to move right along with you, sir.
Okay? Then we'll go on to the second item. It says airport bond bid acceptance for $6 million. Is it that 6 million?
I think it's 6 million.
Yes, it is.
Now, could I have the treasurer run, since we are all just given this, would you run through it, explain it to all of us?
What you
Please.
currently,
Yeah, why don't you come up and sit at the table?
Come over here.
Good.
In the seat.
Hey, be quiet over here.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Diane,
Okay, so what you have in front of you is the vote required for the bond. And this is what Joe Salita is going to be signing later today, that this was read and you guys accepted what's the necessary paperwork for this $6 million bond. So it's basically saying that you voted to approve the sale.
Would you start and go by one,
One.
please?
Yep. So the first paragraph is saying that we're meeting right now on December 12th. And all the following votes were unanimously passed. And so the first one is voted to approve the sale of $6 million, 3% general obligation federal aid anticipation note, otherwise known as the note, of the county dated December 18th and payable October 15th, 2019 to Oppenheimer and Company at par with accrued interest plus a premium of $35,005.
Is that the
Yes,
3%?
go ahead.
Is that the 3%?
3%.
The 3% is the 35,000.
The 3% is, that's the, 3% is the interest rate and the premium is the $35,000 in fees.
Right, so the 35,000 is in addition to the 3%.
So
Question.
what, how much is the 3%?
I had
6 million, 180,000.
total interest due is $148,500 on October 15th, 2019.
Since we're going through
Number
this,
again, 148?
Yeah.
48.5.
since we're going through this step by step, it says, an instrument dated on this date, payable on October 15, 2019, and the premium amount. What happens if it isn't paid at that time, October?
We'll end up having to roll it into a smaller pan. It should be done. It's my understanding, and the chairman of the Martha's Vineyard Airport Commission can back me up, but it's supposed to be done by June.
It needs to be done by June, and then we would, and it's almost a $12 million project. What we will need on a rolling basis is no more than $6 million in terms of what the airport would have to lay out at any one time. And again, the project should be totally completed. Needs to be completed by May, because that's when the commercial flights start coming in that need that runway. So the fact, October, it should be paid off long before October, because we should have reimbursement from the FAA long before then.
Well, we've said this before on other notes, and it's been rolled over, is that what you call it?
Yes.
And I just want to make sure I understand what we're talking about.
That was on the 450,000 for the firefighting station, which it was a closeout, and because of the rolled over, rather the delay from the FAA and getting final reimbursement, because there were some expenses that they had originally had not been qualified. They then decided to change it to be qualified, and because of that caused the delay in the final payment of that particular project. This one has no such complications associated with it.
Now, go ahead, you said, it says further voted.
Okay, I was just gonna add on that rollover that both you and Bob are discussing, that's gonna be paid at the end of the month, December 28th, and be closed out.
Okay,
So that one's gonna go away. Okay, so
thank you, thank you.
further voted that in connection with the marketing and sale of the note, the preparation and distribution of the notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated November 27, 2018, and a final official statement dated December 4th, the official statement, each in such form as may be approved by the county treasurer, be and hereby are ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted. Further voted that the county treasurer and the county commissioners be and hereby are authorized to execute and deliver a significant events disclosure undertaking in compliance with SEC Rule 15C2-12 in such form as may be approved by bond counsel to the county, which undertaking shall be incorporated by reference in the notes for the benefit of the holders of the notes from time to time. Further voted that we authorize and direct the county treasurer to establish post-issuance federal tax compliance procedures in such form as the county treasurer and bond councils deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax exempt status of the note. Further voted that each member of the county commissioners, the county clerk, the county treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver such certificates, receipts, and other documents as may be determined by them, or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry out into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes. They further certify,
One question. You say that further voted that each member of the county commissioners, the county clerk, and the county treasurer be and are hereby authorized to take any and all such actions, so forth and so on and so on. So what do you mean by that? What does that mean, I should say? Each one of us are personally responsible?
no. You're signing these different documents that have the backup, which basically says what you're responsible for. So you're signing these today. I have a tax certificate for you to sign. I have the note instrument for you to sign. So it's basically that you're agreeing to sign these documents.
Okay. Go ahead.
And lastly, I further certify that the votes were taken at a meeting open to the public, that no vote was taken by secret ballot, that a notice stating the place, date, time, and agenda for the meeting, which agenda included the adoption of the above votes, was filed in the office of the county commissioners, and a copy thereof posted in a manner visible to all the public at all hours in such places or places as the county commissioners designated for the purpose, or if applicable, in accordance with an alternative method of notice prescribed or approved by the Attorney General as set forth in 940 CMR 29.03, Section 5, Paragraph B, at least 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays prior to the time of the meeting, and remain so posted at the time of the meeting that no deliberations or decision in connection with the sale of the bonds were taken in executive session, all in accordance with General Law C-30A, 18, Sections 18 through 25 as amended.
You require a separate vote on each one of these items. It says voted and further voted and so forth. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
All right.
I have one question.
Leon?
In the third one down, SEC Rule 15C2-12,
Just wait, okay.
the third we voted, or further voted, in compliance with section SEC Rule 15C2-12, what is that?
That relates. That relates to,
Is it tax exempt?
no, it's reporting of significant events, which is an item that you're gonna be, it's a disclosure certificate. And if the purpose of it is that should something happen, such as,
You want me to read it?
you wanna read it this time?
Oh, it said, no, it just said, I'll read the rule.
Oh, okay.
The SEC Rule 15C2-12 ensures municipal securities issuers enter into agreements to provide certain information to the MSRB about their securities on an ongoing basis.
Well,
Basically, this is all boilerplate, which would apply to any and all. The amounts would change, but the wording would not change. This is just bureaucracy at its polished peak. And when you do a bond, this is what you do. I don't think this was written for this particular obligation.
Mr. Chair, would you like a dramatic reading of SEC Rule 15C2? It's not that long.
Did you just say that?
She just
No,
did.
it goes that,
Didn't like the way you read it.
It's okay.
requires brokers, dealers, and municipal securities dealers that are acting as underwriters in primary offerings of municipal securities to reasonably determine that the issuer or obligated person has agreed to provide the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board, that's the MSRB, timely notice of certain events. There are two events: incurrence of a financial obligation of the issuer or obligated person if material, or agreement to covenants, events of default, remedies, yada, 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 any of which affect security holders if material, and default, event of acceleration, termination event, modification of terms, or other similar events under the terms of the financial obligation of the issuer or obligated person.
Christine's was much better.
Thank you, John.
Well, I yield to a much better reading.
It was shorter.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
clearer.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, we've already agreed to this is just fine tuning and has it in writing exactly what we agreed to, so I don't have any questions, no.
Any other questions from the board?
Is it possible for us to make a motion to vote on the entire thing, or do we have to take them up individually?
You can do it.
Boom, boom, boom. I'd like to make a motion that we vote to.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, it just needed to be on camera that you voted to approve.
All right. Go ahead.
So I make a motion that as we have reviewed and had opportunity to comment on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts of this general approval and vote, that we vote to approve all that is spelled out in this document under at one time.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded. There's no discussion on that, then we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Voted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
Okay, well, here comes the fun.
Let's do this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of moving parts on this one. So, the green one, everybody needs to sign.
Everybody needs to sign the agreement.
On the next one, everybody needs to sign this one. It's a signature, no litigation, official statement certificate. There's 3 tabs, if everybody could sign on all 3 tabs. This one's just for John, it's, and myself, it's significant events disclosure certificate. And then I have 3 big packets of the tax certificate. And you need to sign
Each
each
of them.
packet.
Where the little blue tab is. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, let's pass it along here.
I have a file up here.
Ready to go?
Ready to go. All right, so all 3 just need your signature.
Just got a text from Tristan, you had the wrong time.
Who said
Bob, you
that?
were right.
You called it.
Tristan just texted me, he had the wrong time. He thought it was at 2.
It was originally posted at 2, so. Are you holding on to that, sir? or- Oh, that's not a sign, I'm sorry.
No,
I thought you had a document. you
I
were
would
late
not
to.
deprive you of the opportunity to
Okay.
sign another piece of paper.
Oh, there are 2 places there?
There are
I think
3.
it's- Oh,
There's
oh.
3 on this document.
Oh, wait a minute, it's coming the other way now?
Yeah.
Now it's gonna go back to
Okay,
Gretchen.
okay, all right.
Gretchen's messing up the
Okay, you take that
system
one.
here.
Okay, all right.
That's it.
There you go.
Okay, okay.
We ecumenical too to accommodate Kristen.
You got, I think,
What?
more
No,
too.
another one.
I'll suspend the
There's 3
meeting.
that are gonna look like that one.
Okay, wait a minute.
Just one take, thank God.
Yeah, just one.
Oops, sorry,
It's okay,
I'm taking your notice.
it's all right, not a problem.
Scheduled meetings. Thank you.
That's going on.
No, this is coming to you.
I just did it.
No,
Well,
not to you.
Gretchen didn't. So
This is going to you.
There you go.
I thought we were to sign it.
And I think we're done. I mean,
Did you sign that already?
No,
No,
that's
this,
the
this
last
one
one.
went the other way around, Kristen.
Oh, I
I did
signed
a
it.
little loop-de-loop on that one. Okay.
You signed it 3 times, Bob?
Huh?
Just sign it 3 times. That last one had to be signed
Oh,
3
3
times.
times? Oh,
Back
I'm
up, pass
sorry.
it.
I have a feeling you better check in to make
Yeah,
sure
I'm going,
everybody's been signed. where they're supposed to.
Oh, I was 1/3 right.
Or 2/3 wrong.
Yeah, and that's about proper.
Okay.
You can move forward, I'll just check and then I'll
Okay,
make a graceful exit if everything looks good.
all right, whatever you say.
Don't go too far, because we'll be talking budget.
The next item on our agenda is the 2019 meeting calendar. And our first meeting in 2019 is on January the 2nd at 4 o'clock. And then there's a list of all the other dates. The mandatory ones, so forth and so on.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
I'm wondering if the 4 PM meetings, except in the summertime, because I know that it affects Tristan, can be changed. I wonder if we can talk about a change for the 4 PM meeting? Change of time earlier?
I don't know. We've kind of set on the 4 o'clock with everybody being able to get here.
Well, I mean, is there a reason why we couldn't get here at 2 o'clock?
I can't always get here at 2 o'clock.
Okay, so if you can't,
There's also I would often have class at 2 o'clock. I mean, not that you guys should base your decision off of me, but I would have, there'd be times where I have class at 2.
Yes.
I was just gonna say, I'm certainly open to talking about it, but we have 2 new commissioners coming on board.
Yeah.
And if we could wait and just make sure that it accommodates
agree,
their
that makes
schedules
sense.
as well.
makes sense, okay.
But
Just wanted to say I said something.
Leon?
Mr. Chairman, the July 3rd meeting, day before 4th of July, we should asterisk that because we might want to do a meeting the last week of June versus the 3rd of July.
That makes
Might make more
sense.
sense for the treasurer too and everything else we're doing, so.
If the secretary will so make note of that.
Do we have to vote on this?
I think
Approving
let's wait
the
till
calendar?
January.
Yeah.
We'll
Wait
vote.
till,
But
wait till
just-
we, the boys.
Yeah.
Don't get vote happy.
Okay.
All set? There's no vote necessary if we all agree on it with the asterisk and the.
No, I've got one.
Okay, why are you taking it away from me
I
then?
like you to take it.
No, I'm just putting it.
Oh dear, these are all coming up in 19?
And then there's the 2019 appointment schedule.
So, we prepared a list of appointments that are coming up for appointment in 2019, and I just wanted to ask you, when do you want me to advertise these? Do you want me to do it before the Christmas, during the
Yes.
Christmas,
Sooner the better.
January?
Well, one of them is coming up, or they're coming up in February, so if we don't advertise now, people are gonna say they didn't have enough time or whatever, so I would say as soon as we can.
So we've had this conversation in the past about when we do advertise, how effective
Innumerable times.
is our advertising? Are the ads large enough? Do we give enough information in them so that people know when they see that these appointments are coming up, that it might be something they'd be interested in doing and or capable of doing based on what that appointment commands of them?
Keith?
Could I just bring it, what if instead of, I feel like no one reads the ads in the papers and stuff. What if instead we sent a press release to both the papers and asked them to put it in the meaty section of the paper, it's free of charge to the county? Is that, I mean, that, a couple folks have come to me and said, you know, I didn't even know we advertised in the, you know, in the paper. A press release, I feel like it's in the meaty part of the paper. I don't know if that's a bad idea, but it's just.
Leon?
I think what Christine's saying is that we have put the ads in with a running thing like this with all the titles, so
Yeah.
no one can read it.
Right.
I think what we need to do is put in title, duties, title, duties, so people would see it, it'll be a bigger
Yeah.
ad,
It'll probably cost about $600 per paper to do it.
Yeah.
But at least they'll be out
No.
there in a straight line.
It's too much.
Yeah, but even, I mean, again, I'm not a president commissioner, I'm not trying to overstep here, but what I was, the thing of the press release is in the better part of the paper where more people read. A lot of people just don't read the ads at all, and it's free. You don't have to pay a cent to put a press, you don't have to pay a cent to ask the papers to put a press release in, and a press release can be as long as you want in here, maybe this has been litigated.
Is it free?
Well,
Yeah,
Oh, it's free, okay, there you go.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
yeah.
But I have a question about the legality of that. If we are required to advertise, would a press release be considered an advertisement or no? So are we under some sort of obligation to officially advertise
Do it
for
both
the?
ways.
I'd like an
Wait a
answer to
minute,
my
let her
question
finish.
first, right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Perhaps the county manager knows the answer to that question? I-
So, I don't think that we are obligated. I think it's your appointments and your rules.
Yeah.
But I think that we do it in the legal notice section. That's
Yeah.
where we advertise for new appointments. That's where other towns do that as well. The problem with the press releases is really up to the paper if they want to print it or not. And the past experience was that I send press releases and they go nowhere. So we can try again. And as far as the job description, that's on the county website. So we always in the ad refer to the county website for more information. So anybody can go and find out what these positions do.
First of all, let me say, the ad should be as brief and to the point, but refer people to read any more details at the county website, which doesn't cost anybody anything, and more people probably tune into that than the newspaper. Yes.
So,
Christine.
often an obstacle to participating in any of these committees or doing any of this work or being appointed is one of time constraint. So when we refer someone to the website, do we have, for these positions, you meet once a month, you meet, on a Wednesday night at 7? I just.
Yeah, I think yeah, like Health Council meets, I think it's the third Thursday at 7:30 a.m.
Yeah.
at the Westisbury Fire Safety.
But we have that on the website when they go to find out more.
I will make sure, I believe it is.
Okay.
Leon,
As I read this document, 90% of it are incumbents that would be reappointed. And the only one that says advertise is the airport commissioner. Because the other groups, the health council is gonna make the nomination to us.
Yeah, but we advertise for them, the applications come here, then we give it to the Health Council, the nominating committee goes through the applications, and then they gave us a slate that the Health Council is recommending to us for appointment, but we advertise, not them. We putting the word out there that these appointments are available. And we're doing it for all, not just for the airport
So you're
commission.
gonna advertise for the person on disability affairs and homeless again, even though you just found some people?
Well, I think it's up to you. If we have people there, incumbents, and they are willing to continue to serve, it's up to you. If you want to opening up to, more candidates and have a discussions of a new incoming candidate might be better than the one that we currently have, or if you're happy with the people and they want to keep serving. My recommendation would be I'm very happy with the associate commissioners and what they do, and I would love to keep them in their positions. I don't see necessary reason to change, but.
I have two questions. One, is it listed in here, and the ones that are appointed by the chairman of the commissioners?
The associate commissioners are the one appointed by the chair. Everybody else is appointed by the whole board.
So just that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that one, there's 3, right?
Yeah, it's three.
Well, yes, it's
Okay.
three candidates,
Right.
but
Well, it's,
One
Those
category.
positions.
Yeah,
Yes.
one category, 3 positions right
Yes.
now.
Okay.
Just
Bob?
quick comment, not based on local newspapers, but my experience in the past has been when you put in notices, whether the notice is gonna go in if you wrote it or get very greatly compact. It depends upon the amount of space that the newspaper has that week. And you can't really count on it. You can really end up with nothing or a blurb. And so that can't be the primary way of doing it, is all I'm saying.
Haven't we also discussed a letter to the editor, or a letter to the editor in the newspapers, basically saying that the county is looking for volunteers to fill appointed positions, even if it's just a general letter that says, please look at our ad in this paper, this week's edition. You know, participation is always appreciated, and civic, contribution is, whatever. I mean,
Yes, I think we've talked about every possible way, and we've done many different types of advertising, and it generally ends up with not a whole lot of activity. However, it is our responsibility under the general law to advertise the positions vacant. That's really all you have to do, is advertise a vacancy or not a vacancy, but these positions are up for appointment by the county commissioners, et cetera, et cetera. But we can do it any number of ways. We can do it through social media. And through a general thing in the paper, as I said earlier, referring people to the website for more information, as you had indicated. I would think I personally think it would be best to have one advertisement either before Christmas or after, however it works out with the newspapers, basically. And then another one at another point in time. And it doesn't mean you can't do social media things. And our website carries all this stuff. I don't know. So you tell me, Bob.
Just quick one, just to piggyback on Keith's idea. The shorter notice you put in, the more apt it's going to get printed. And so it may be simple enough to put a notice in, please see this particular section to see the open positions, or however much more appropriately you would word it.
I knew we couldn't keep Ms. Underwood down very long.
Just a question. So on the Health Council, they make the nominations and they give us the candidates, so we don't have anything to do with that. It's whoever they nominate, that's who gets that position. So I don't think we need to post those particular positions. They're kind of out of our purview. Would that be correct?
No, we
No.
do advertise health council members. We're looking for health council members, so people can actually, submit applications to be nominated.
To who?
It comes to my office, then I forward it to the health council. So we advertise for them.
We
But
have-
then they make those decisions, they pick and choose among all the people who want to be on the health council and give us recommendation who from all the candidates they would recommend for us to
Stop the
appoint.
social media.
So I'm missing something, Martina. So if
Yeah.
I just look at the first line, the Health Council has nominated Bill Croak. Is that correct? Right here.
No,
No.
this
So what is that?
this is last year.
Okay, but if
Don't
I
worry
use that,
about it.
if I use that, so they will.
This is how it's
present a
gonna
similar-
come here at the end of the process. So
Okay.
right now, these people are
The incumbents.
incumbents, yes.
Okay, so I think,
Mr. Israel,
Yes,
no
sir.
social media over here.
I think
I
if we
am,
are honest
trying
with
to
our,
turn my phone down so I don't disturb people.
I think if we are honest with
He's
ourselves,
playing tic-tac-toe on it,
Yes,
for the
yeah.
record.
Yeah. Asteroids.
I can reach him from here with the spray bottle.
I think if we are honest with ourselves, where we have the least transparency is the Airport Commission. And I think that that's where we need to put, and if we're gonna put something in the paper, if we're gonna do something, that's where we need to put, rather than the ones that are gonna come to us through the Health Council, or the ones that are gonna be appointed by the chair. That's what I think. So if we're gonna talk about a press release, I think that's where we need to put it. I also think, and I agree with Mr. Brathwaite, we do both. we put it in the legal section, is that where it goes? And then we have a press release, because I think that's where we're gonna get the attention.
Keith?
Look, I mean, again, I apologize for talking much during this meeting. I think we should just do all three. You do the letter to the editor, which, I mean, I write them like freaking every week these days, and they almost,
Awesome,
yeah, well, I write them
you
all.
can do one.
Yeah, I mean, they almost always get published. Press
You just
release,
volunteered to write letters.
should.
to the
Oh, I
editor.
think it should be
I
a board member.
totally could, and third, I mean, I think you should do all three, and the advertisements, because if, I mean, the ad, you pay for it, so it's to get in there, and if one of the other two stick, great, if they don't, they're free, there's no problem. I mean, and I will volunteer to do that next month, I'm a commissioner, but it's,
Yes.
I'd like to add to that, and put it on, MVTV.
We have it on right now.
Well, an ongoing, we can do.
A PSA.
We can do an ad that tells the positions that are open or that we're looking for and guide them to our website.
Leon,
The key to.
Tristan, I know this is a boring thing, but stop it now.
The key to whatever we do is and the ad finds it is the cutoff date for responding to the applicants. And that's why paying for an ad, at least we have the date certain for when it needs to be submitted by.
Right.
The cutoff date, so that's the ad. The other pieces of the letter to the editor and other things don't necessarily have to have those because they're also pointing people back to the website. But yes, I would agree to do all four things that we've talked about.
That was three.
It went for
No,
three.
I-
What happened to the fourth
I
one?
have the PSA on there now,
Oh, the
personal
PSA.
service announcement on NBTV, which doesn't cost us anything either.
Okay. Have we discussed this at great length?
Just
Not quite.
sort of following up on what Gretchen was referring to earlier with regards to the intensity and importance surrounding the appointment of the airport commissioners. I think it would behoove us to somehow promote the position advertisement or whatever at the airport for people that are using the airport, people who are interfacing with individuals at the airport. Is there a way that we can get further mileage out of our,
Well, once you
message
start,
that we're looking to reappoint or appoint airport commissioners through the
once you start
facility?
that, then other boards are gonna ask, well, why don't you put it in this particular, we should stick with the areas that we're responsible for. And don't worry, everybody will know about it if you put it on all four venues. Yes, Bob?
Sorry, John. As long as we're talking about appointments, may I go a little bit sideways on that with your permission?
Why not? Everybody else seemed to.
Good, good. I'm gonna preface this by saying what I'm gonna say has no bearing on any individuals. It's really a commentary on process, procedure, and open meetings. Much to my surprise, we had an appointment made at our previous meeting to the Martha's Vineyard Commission. And I was a little bit surprised because I didn't know it was coming, maybe some people did, but I didn't. It seemed to be out of nowhere from my perspective. There was also a recommendation or a concept presented that the commissioner had to be a member of the commission. On the other hand, another very important appointment is to the Steamship Authority, and yet we don't have any such limitation on that. I'm leading up to a motion, sir.
Well, go ahead, make your motion.
Thank you. I'm almost there.
Yeah,
It
sure.
also deprived two of the members who are here and will be here for the next 2 years, deprive them of an opportunity to perhaps volunteer for it or vote for it. We have two new members coming, both of whom appear to have qualifications to serve. They were eliminated from it. I think that vote should be taken when the new board is constituted, not at the last meeting of the old board, if you would. And without going into a lot of other detail, I would like to make a motion.
Can I cut you off?
Let him make his motion.
No. Because there is a statute. We're following the statute. The person that's, and it says in the law, it must be a Dukes County Commissioner.
Fine,
Wait a minute, listen. And you have to have the person appointed by the 20th day of December. Period.
then why wasn't it on the agenda?
It was.
Not the agenda that I got, no.
Well, I'm sorry, but it was on the agenda.
I didn't see it. Did somebody show it to me?
Well, I don't have last meeting's
I
agenda.
can go get it. It was actually amended and added.
Amended and added?
Yeah, I
Well,
wasn't
in view
here.
of the fact that I came on island very late, and I did not see that. I came on island to attend that meeting, I didn't see that. And that's an inappropriate notice, huh, if that's the case.
That's the agenda.
It
It's
was,
not on there.
it was printed on it.
Oh, excuse me.
Was it distributed prior? Was that
Yeah.
amendment distributed
Yeah, it was.
through email, or was it just added at
I
the
don't
last
know.
minute?
It's my responsibility as the chair to make sure the appointment is carried out in December.
But Connie just said that it wasn't on the original one. She sent out an amended version, which I could have very likely been on the boat sitting in my car, not able to get through to pick up any emails. Bottom line is, I think that the vote, in the view of the fact that there were only 4 of the commissioners present to vote, I was uninformed of it, whether it was through my own ignorance, and frankly, I don't think so, because I read these things very carefully when they come through. If there was a revised schedule for the meeting, then I didn't have access to it. And I would like to take this opportunity to make a motion to rescind the vote, to re-vote it with all of the members present. And I'm pointing out again, I don't see this as this is the revised one.
Number 6.
Yeah, the time for the meetings, for the next set of meetings was 2 o'clock, but we reset it on the 5th to 1 o'clock today.
Anyway, that's my motion, and it can go down or up, I don't care, but I am very much in favor of the involvement of as many commissioners as possible in such a decision.
I'll second that motion for discussion.
Go ahead, is there any more discussion?
Well, a couple of things. I had to leave before the vote, so I'm not complaining about that per se, although I see Bob's point. I see Bob's point. I think on all of these in the future, not only all the stuff you're talking about, but maybe as we do with budget stuff, that we ought to have a timeline posted ahead of time of when these are coming up. Only question I had was that the person we appointed was also on the TIP committee, and I had some
What
reservations.
committee?
The TIP committee, and it's at the commission, and so I was thinking that it might be good to, spread the,
What is TIP?
transportation improvement.
Thank you.
So we have, and that's, appreciate the person's time on that, but, maybe that, there was no, I would have brought that up, in that I think, that too should be maybe opened up to other people and other members. So in that context, it's one of the reasons, I'm seconding Bob's motion.
Other discussion?
Was there a timeline that position had to be, that appointment had to be made by, and what was the date of it?
The date, usually the commission appointment is by the end of December. If you
No,
don't.
That's not correct.
If you don't make the appointment on time, then the person who's there would continue, it's not like the end of the world. They would continue to serve until,
Just a second, folks.
I'm telling you, that is correct, John.
That may be true.
Thank you.
Well, the normal way that we have done business on this board is that when the first meeting in December comes, you select your member to the Martha's Vineyard Commission. It goes then on to the certification of it, and we didn't do it. It didn't get on the original agenda, but it was put on the agenda. It was on the agenda. Tristan left that particular day. The rest of us voted for.
I wasn't here.
No, you weren't here. He went to see you, as a matter of fact. That's what he said, anyway.
Who?
You.
I went to see Christine.
Yes, that's what you said here.
That's
I
news
guess
to
we-
me.
Hey, news to me too. Did we have a good time?
Anyway, the vote was 3-1. Three yes and 1 abstention, I think.
I like consistency, and we just voted to postpone our meeting schedule in an effort to accommodate 2 new commissioners who are coming on board and have it be an inclusive decision, an inclusive vote. And so given the timeliness of this, end of December 20th, or whatever you said the date was, and the fact that we have 2 new commissioners coming on January 2nd, we're looking at, what, a 2-week period to allow the new commissioners to be a part of this process.
Nice, but if you don't want to have Leon on the board, just say it.
That's not the point.
That's
No,
not
it is the point.
No, that's what you're making it into. I'm talking about process, procedure, and inclusion.
We did follow the process.
And
Period.
inclusion.
It doesn't make any difference. People go home or leave
If
or
I
whatnot.
didn't get it, in
It doesn't
a
make any
timely
difference.
basis, then it wasn't followed.
It was followed. You just didn't read.
No, I read it. It wasn't on the first one.
But there was. Never mind. It's no use going to argue with you.
Have you ever been on the boat, sitting in your car, trying to get?
No,
the same
fortunately, haven't been on the boat sitting in my car. Well, actually, I have, to tell you the truth, but I haven't had my
cell phone?
whatever it is.
Okay.
So I'd like to ask a question about.
The vote stands, as far as I'm concerned.
I'd like to ask a question about the tip, which hasn't been brought up, and when do we do that? And I think I would like to see a broader participation in some of our boards. You know, Leon has stepped up for a lot of things. He wants to do it, and I give him credit for that. I also think that some things, you know, that if other people want to step up for other things, that they should be allowed to do that. So.
As I chair the tip right now, but if someone wants to go and take the tip, that's fine. I have no.
Well, when it's over, I don't know when that happens. I would be.
I don't either.
For example, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind.
I was appointed to tip back, what, 2 years ago?
Right, and we haven't talked, that's why I wanted, I had to leave because I had to be at another meeting for Tisbury. That's why I left, in all seriousness, because I don't leave meetings just because it's late. And I went, and having done that, I would have, that's one issue, had I stayed, I would have brought up, you know, in the context of the vote for MVC. You know, it's like, well, you're doing a lot of things.
I don't know what the appointment process was for the tip.
Well, maybe you could find that out for us, because you are the tip guy, and let us know.
Gretchen?
I think the point that Bob's making, which I'm trying to understand, is that sometimes these appointments come to us as the day that we are meeting, or the day before that we are meeting, and would be very helpful if we knew coming up, we're gonna be, the chair or the group is gonna be voting on, and then list the positions or the appointments that are coming up, then none of us are blindsided by them. So I like transparency, and I would like to see those things come up, because I've been here a number of times, and at the meeting, a very well-intended, very qualified person has been appointed by the chair to do something, and it was great, but I didn't know that was gonna happen ahead of time. So I'm saying that we should know those things ahead of time. We should know that we've got 3 positions coming up, or 3 appointments coming up, these will be made by the chair, these will be advertised, so that we know, because I don't think anybody likes to feel blindsided, Mr. Chairman.
So that's what I was trying to say before about dates. I know with the airport commission, we did go through a whole thing about how we were going to advertise, and we did it well ahead of time. We ought to have that same process in place for all these other things, not just the PR, which I heard you guys talking about, which I think is important, but, you know, by such and such a date, this you know, we're gonna put in our agenda that these appointments are coming up, and then we see it, then it goes out to the various kinds of advertising we're gonna do. And I think we just build that into a calendar, so I don't think
Well,
it's,
I'm talking about the ones that aren't advertised, the ones that the
Yeah.
chair is going to make the appointment,
Right.
and there is some, I think we just need to know what those are in a
Okay.
timely
Yeah,
basis,
that
that's
too.
all,
Yep.
that's all.
We have a motion on the floor, and it's been
Yes.
seconded, may I call the question?
Just 1 second.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You may do that, but I just want to say that this board made a legal appointment to the Martha's Vineyard Commission. And we followed the statute no different than any other time that I've ever been around here. Usually it was Lenny Jason, and we did the same thing. So whether or not you can withdraw,
Rescind.
or
The motion is to rescind. I think we
whether
should
or not you
call the
can do that, I doubt it. But never mind. Go ahead.
The motion's out of order because the person making the motion was not on the prevailing side.
I was not on any side.
Right, but you need to be on.
An abstention
that's
allows you
correct.
to do that, you're wrong. If I had voted no, I wouldn't be able to do it, as an abstention, I can.
Fine.
I'd rather, just to be sure, because you pulled that one before. Having said that, I've called the question.
Okay? All those in favor?
I'm in favor.
I'll vote for it.
Aye.
And all those opposed?
3 to 3, what does that mean?
Means it doesn't pass, it fails.
Okay,
Fails.
Fair enough.
I would ask if you could let us know about the tip, but I don't wanna interrupt, you know, and I'm not saying it has to
Motion
be.
failed, by the way.
I'm not saying it has to be me, but if you could let us know when that, you know, is, when.
I don't know what the process was, I'll ask the process.
And if you're in the middle, personally, if you're in the middle of some big thing that you need to
Well, that's-
wrap up as chairman, I'm more than happy to wait. I just would
No,
like to.
Chairman, I just chair the meetings. The one thing about the Martha's Vineyard Commission, why there's always been continuity of a person there, and Bob knows, is that you have to be a participant at the hearings and the meetings to be able to vote on it. And if you can't necessarily change that up every year, because the new person coming in would not be able to vote on the things coming before them. And there's a lot of projects that are going through right now, the tower and the Verizon tower and the other projects that are going on. But just say that to say that continuity of the commissioner or the appointee to the Martha Vineyard Commission, like Lenny did it for, I don't know, 10, 15 years, is important. I just say that. So not that it's taken a seat away from anybody else. It's just with it goes it might even be better for the person to resign mid-year and do a mid-year appointment if things are finished.
Yeah, can I get a call for the manager's report?
Budget, right? So we had a county
So I'm
advisory.
sorry, so let us, I'd like to know when we're gonna do that,
Just
so
that-
if we could
just-
do that at some
I said
point.
yes
No.
on that 3 times.
But I didn't know the timing, I'm asking
I
about the
have
timing.
no idea.
So can we find that out? That's all I'm asking.
All right, everybody, calm down. We're going to go on to the next
That's all I'm
subject.
asking.
Okay, actually back to the calendar, so January, so you know what's coming up, there's gonna be organizational meeting, right? We're gonna, right on January 2nd, vote on the chair and the vice chair. Joe Solido's gonna come and swear you guys in, so are you gonna be here in person?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so Joe's gonna swear you in, then you can start participating in the meeting, and then we're gonna have organizational votes of the board. February, I'm gonna post the deadline for the advertised appointments at the end of January. So by February 6th, we could potentially hold some interviews if you want on the airport commission. Is that what you want? Do interviews on February 6th? And then do the appointments on March 6th, okay? So we kind of know what's coming up.
I would just to let you know, February 6th will be the one meeting next year. Not only can I not be here, I also won't be able to be on the phone. It's the first day of orientation. I won't be able to be on either. Everything else I'll be on the phone, but I just want to let you guys know that for those that I won't be there.
Mr. Chairman. So, you're talking about the applications have to be in by February 6th?
No,
or-
so applications would be in by, I will pick, last week, January, Friday probably. So I have all the applications in by the end of January. and then I can call up people for interviews and schedule them to come on February 6th for interviews, right?
So my only other point, beyond it would be nice if we could do it when Keith was around, is typically, I think last year we had to, the interviews went, I mean, in all reality, we ended up having to have several meetings, as I recollect, for interviews. So we ought to kind of plan in our heads that that is probably going to be a reality, and we may need to have either an interim meeting or something, because I doubt it's going to happen in one meeting. I mean, it may.
So what I would suggest when we advertise is that we say interviews for this position will be held on February 6th. Then people can plan to come, because what happened is we said that, and then some weren't able to come on the day that we selected.
Right.
So if we put that out there in advance, that helps people make decisions. And then if we have to go over, we go over, but at least they've known ahead of time.
Yes, you gotta set a date sometime.
Saturday, yeah, and it'll be February 6th.
So is there
We're
anything,
anticipating interviewing for this position on February the 6th.
Christine?
So, following up on Keith's point, Keith, if you know you're not gonna be able to participate remotely or be here physically when interviews are being taken. So I would suggest that if you have questions that you want asked, what we've done in the past is have general questions that we might ask of everyone. And then you'll be able to watch it on MVTV
definitely,
and
yeah.
see what the responses are,
Okay.
so.
That would be.
so it won't
really
preclude him
that.
from being able to vote on candidates?
No, we'll not.
Yeah.
No.
I will be, yeah, and I will definitely be on the phone on March the 6th.
I'm trying to get that changed,
I'll be on the phone too.
to get the NBC to change that.
Okay.
So the other suggestion may be when you get to February 6th, if we see, if there's 3 people, fine. If there's like 8 people, we may want to schedule it, maybe even earlier on March 6th, so we have the time.
Let's talk about that later on when we find out who the candidates are and how many candidates.
It's
I
not
think that
far
on
away.
February 6th, you can make a decision if you're gonna put another meeting in between for additional interviews.
Okay.
And as you know, we used to meet twice a month, and we reduced that to once a month.
Okay, can we move on now?
That wasn't my
Okay,
choice, by
let's
the way,
move on
as I recall.
to the
But you're right.
budget and what happened at CAB. So, the county advisory board did not go with your recommendation to move $50,000 from unreserved fund and fund the OPEB in fiscal year 20. What they decided instead was a couple things. They decided to increase the county assessment by 2.5% for fiscal year 2020 and the 2.5% to be dedicated for OPEB. And that would happen going forward. So we would have a dedicated stream of revenue for funding OPEB. They also confirmed that they want the warrant article for 100,000 OPEB funding to be put to the towns. They did rescind their vote on moving money from unreserved fund to the stabilization, and for now, all the 250,000 that's in the general fund unreserved is gonna stay there until we discuss it further at the CAB level. The next vote was for Cape and Island license plates, return $125,000 to the towns for economic development and tourism, and pending the audit, I believe the motion was that the balance of it's gonna go as well after it's audited. They,
Unless, as Tristan proposed, we come up with some way of figuring out how to use it going forward.
Right.
And he was very adamant about us developing some kind of an economic program that would allow us to, the county, to be able to establish some kind of a program that would use that dollars for economic development.
Like restrooms at the beaches?
Well, that
that's
could
what
be, yeah.
Noreen
That was suggested.
proposed.
Yeah.
That was proposed.
Yeah, because their complaint, so if we have specificity, I got that word out in one gulp.
Very good.
If we have that word I just said, then I think we have legitimate
Yeah.
reasons to be able to use that money.
So why wouldn't we just say now that we're gonna put public restrooms at State Beach and Eastville Beach? Why wouldn't we just plan not let this happen again, not have it be something that we float out there, but we make a point of pursuing that, and so that next year we know that any money we raise toward economic development is gonna go toward this specific thing.
I agree, I think we would need, and also we need to like go through the process with the Concoms and stuff, make sure that we can do it, and that they give us the blessing, but yeah, why not?
Did we use that for beach patrol stuff?
Well, beach
Beach
patrol
patrol
is,
is
is already in the budget,
Okay.
the bathrooms are not, and there was an issue with the Concom, and, I believe we have tried to figure out if we can do the enclosures like they have on South Beach, and the answer was no. And-
At Eastville it was no, was it no also at the other?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think that, I'm not sure if we can put the porta potties just there on the beach without enclosures, if that's something that the
Privacy, maybe.
Concom would allow us to do. I don't know where the
Well, let's
discussions are.
explore it.
Yeah.
I'm willing to
Yes,
explore that,
Agreed.
okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that once we have a yes answer, then we can go amend the budget, and then it's gonna go to the CAB and they can approve it, and it's gonna go from the license plate.
Yeah,
That's not
okay.
a problem.
Okay.
Okay.
5%.
Yes, so the last thing that they approved was to add the 5% administrative fee to the warrant articles to go to the towns for the regional services that we administer and collect the money from the towns and pay the invoices. So I will be amending those warrant articles and sending it in with 5% added to the budgets that were presented earlier.
Change their mind.
So I actually want you to vote that. So here is the spreadsheet of how these requests look like with the 5% added. And because all these warrant articles are county-sponsored warrant articles, county commissioner-sponsored warrant articles, I believe that we should have a motion that you agree, approve, and are okay with me submitting those as a county commissioner-sponsored warrant articles. And so we're talking about substance use prevention, social services, healthcare access, Center for Living, CORE, Healthy Aging, Martha's Vineyard, and First Stop. And then there is the warrant article for funding OPEB to the tune of 100,000 island-wide.
Martina, what I don't see here is the 60,000 net that was supposed to come up with. Where is that listed out separately?
What's 60,000?
What are you talking about?
I thought that
That
was
was
the
our
amount of money
shortfall.
that we needed to balance the budget.
Yeah, so I added 5% to each of the programs, and
So-
it comes to $58,230.
Right.
And where's that number?
It's spread across these six,
Yeah, but
one,
you don't
two,
show us
three,
a
four,
breakout, so
five,
that-
six,
that-
seven warrant articles. It's not a separate number. It's 5% is added to every single warrant article, and depending how the big, but like the
So-
substance use prevention article was 30,000. Now it's 31,500.
So this will make up, what Leon's asking then, will this will make up that shortfall?
Yes, it will make up the shortfall.
All right, well, I don't disagree with Leon, I think it should be a line item on this sheet that that reflects what was requested and then what the 5% figure is, and so that we can just know that that's,
Yeah, well, I can add
Separate.
2 lines
I
in
wouldn't have it
between
at
the
a town meeting.
top, but
Yeah.
I need to spread amongst the towns the
Yeah.
total number, so,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. No, I get it,
okay.
yeah.
So First Stop was originally how much? The-
Whatever that number is minus
First
5%.
stop was originally 29,000, I'll give it to you, hold on.
See, that's what's missing, okay.
No, it's missing on the spreadsheet, but.
Right.
So these numbers, 32, if you do minus those out by 5%.
Correct.
What's H-
29,443.
What's HAMV?
Healthy aging.
Healthy aging,
Okay. And CORE is,
counseling and outreach and referral
correct.
for elders.
Correct.
So I mean, I have the original numbers
But-
in my computer. I can
what
give it
program
to
is
you.
that? It's not,
Counseling, outreach
So
and
it's
referral for
administered by
elders,
commu-
it's a program that community services
Right,
provide.
it's for the seniors. And they have that one, they have
So
that.
they submit they've been submitting, I hadn't heard, like, I know the Healthy Aging Task Force, I know
Yeah,
the
Cory.
First Stop, I know all the others, I didn't know that one.
Cool.
In MV Senior Services, well, that's in, it's,
That's Center for
yeah,
Living.
Center for Living. In Vineyard Healthcare, DC Social Services,
Dukes County Social Services.
and substantive, I know that, in Weaving.
That should be SU.
That's correct.
Substance
FCD?
use disorder.
Substance use disorder.
Oh, okay. It's kind of a weird name, but anyway, never mind.
It's pretty standard in the industry, if you wanna call it that.
Just-
Yeah,
it's okay.
yeah.
So the bottom line is that these numbers add up to about 60K.
58,000 plus.
50,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes?
I would like to make a motion that we approve the county request for funding for these warrant articles as presented by the county manager.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, opposed?
No opposed, am I?
Abstentions? Okay, all in favor.
Thank you.
Don't tremble, this is important.
What?
You had appointed me as chairman of the committee to determine the process of changing the treasurer's position from an elected position to an appointed position. I contacted both our state representative's office and our state senator's office to ask for their help in reviewing what the law was and to come up with a recommendation to bring to you. They both said, would you please call us after the election, and then we'll turn to with you and get it done. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending upon your point of view, I won't be in a position to do that. So you're gonna have to appoint somebody else to chair such a committee.
I'll do that.
Done.
Yes?
I believe Tristan and I were we
Yeah.
both on that
Yeah.
committee
Yeah.
as well? Commissioner Underwood too? Okay,
No,
no?
no, she was
I was
actually,
on you one.
So
it was
good.
Lee, it was you and Lee.
Oh, okay.
The importance is if we wanna do something, we, you know, before
We'll find out what it
the next
Yeah, 2 years.
round, and we need to work on that.
2020.
Yeah.
So,
You gotta get through 19.
a new chair for this
Yeah,
committee?
the whole year.
Well,
Well, we could wait till, if we could put it on the agenda for our first meeting in January and have the new chairperson.
Yeah.
and you'll be the chairperson, I'm sure, Gretchen, and then you can take care of it.
So you say?
Is this relevant?
Yes, I believe it would come under old business, but I know that there was a discussion about the county manager's,
Right, I wanted
Review.
to have an executive session
right,
about that, where we, not to talk about performance, but to purely talk about terms. So, and I was hoping we could do it, but I would like, again, whenever if we could put that on the agenda to schedule for our first or second meeting in, January, I think we should.
If you look at her contract, because somebody sent us copies of it recently, it says that we would be doing an evaluation sometime between January and February of next year to be able to have a new contract by March, I think is the way her contract is currently worded.
Right. So that's good. I just think we need to talk about it as a board, and again, I want to be very clear to our manager, not about performance. This is just purely,
You could possibly have something
technical.
else that you wanna talk about.
And we should do that when we have our new board.
Yes,
relevant
correct.
to this.
Absolutely.
Um,
I've got to go.
So I would like to volunteer to be a part of that committee that reviews the performance of the manager.
So we can talk about.
If we're
setting
talking
that
about
up at the
performance, that's something that all of us
meeting.
fill out a sheet.
Right, but we can talk about all of that that's what I was saying, I think
Okay.
a contract, it's proper for contract negotiations.
Why?
To go into executive
I have a
session.
medical appointment with my mother, if you want me to tell the world that, but yes, that's why I have to go and why I couldn't come up.
Don't speed.
So anyway, if we could schedule that in, either the first or second meeting in January, that would be
So,
good.
so do you want it on the agenda for January to talk about the evaluation process and who is gonna do it and how?
That
And
we
then
could do.
maybe we can have an executive session after, right?
Mhm.
We're not
Yeah.
gonna have it at the same time.
We could do it, yeah, we could do that in the first meeting, and then on the second meeting, we could do an executive session. I just don't wanna drag this out for the next 6 months, so
Right.
Okay,
And the
Please.
county advisory board tentatively scheduled a public hearing on the county budget for January 17. I need to make sure that all the members are present, for that
What day is
meeting.
that?
17th.
I will not be in town.
You can call in, I guess. They ask for the VTA building, so we need to secure the place and make sure that it's a good date for everybody. It's Thursday.
I won't be,
Speaking of the BTA building.
maybe.
What's going on with the taxes of the building, the road being assessed to pay?
Wait, can we hold?
can we get
Hold
back
on.
to the subject?
Yeah, then you got, I don't mean to, I just wanna get this in my head. So, it's Thursday, at what time is, cause
I don't.
17th is Tuesday, the 15th.
Well, it's
Well,
not-
I will send a notice out once it's, I just kind of wanted to put it out there for you to be on the lookout and be aware that the CAB is ready for a public meeting.
So that's not
And
statutory,
we
so
will
there
have
may
to,
be some
we will
flexibility.
have to advertise it, so by the time I set it, you will have plenty of notice, at least 2 weeks' notice of when it
Okay,
is.
let's try and wrap this up.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Just a minute, I hadn't finished. In fact, Ms. Ty, you've overdone it. All right, if all of the items that we had on the agenda, and God forbid, we talk about, don't forget the holiday party, folks.
I got a selectmen's meeting, so
Everybody's invited.
I can't go.
You know what, they can't change the date,
I know.
so that's the way it is.
You have no idea how much I'm looking forward to that holiday party.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Blast.
Once again, we've been all over the street on this meeting, but folks, happy holidays, and
Same to you.
Same to
let
you.
us all leave in the spirit of peace.
Did anybody second my motion?
No, it's not necessary.
Did we vote?
Yes.
No, you
Aye.
don't have to.
Voted one fell swoop.
Yeah,